ID?
Yeah, right?
Back. Back.
Ay, pahingi. Okay. Ano ka din?
Wait lang.
Stand by.
Ito po. Ay.
Ay.
Camera dyan, kuya.
Hindi ko
Okay.
Ready.
Stand by.
Sunny.
Go na.
Wait lang. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Can you give us a short description of what the movie is about?
Sorry babe, Sunny. Dikit sa akin. Hintayin mo yung action.
Okay.
Ready? Go.
Can you give us a short description about what the movie is all about?
Film's about Lucinda Price and Daniel Grigori, and they have a love that is so powerful that every time they meet, every time they get together, it kills Lucinda, and she dies. She's reborn, meets Daniel again, falls in love with him again. There's a 6,000-year curse hanging over them that they are desperate to break so that they can be together.
So for you guys, tell us about the roles you play and how you got the part.
Sure. I play Lucinda Price, and she is a young woman who is struggling to understand why she has this inexplicable attraction, but not more than an attraction, and a love at first sight, if you will, with this person, and really knowing that there's more to it than having just met. And it's her in the film. It's kind of her navigating her way through remembering these past lives and trying and understanding who she is in the context of being in love with this person, and that being very much so who she is. And I got the part. Had a meeting with the director, Scott Hicks, and then shortly after that was given the script, and I really fell in love with it. And I had another meeting with him, and then Jeremy and I, who plays Daniel, we read together, did a chemistry read together in LA, and then a couple of weeks later, I got a very exciting phone call.
Yeah, I play Cambriel, who's one of the other fallen angels, and the other end of the triangle for Lucy's love curiosities, and also kind of the yang to Daniel's yin as a character. He represents the darker side of the angels, but isn't necessarily a dark person. And then I got the role through again meeting with Scott, and I did an audition, and thankfully everyone enjoyed it, and I was blessed to play the part.
So what was the most challenging part for each one of you?
For me, the most challenging part was pretending to be in love with such charming young men. Just kidding. It was the most challenging part, I guess, was I know it's hard to look back at it now and think of any of it being a challenge because it was such a wonderful experience. I guess the only challenge really was how much we all cared, I guess, in pleasing the fans of the book and making sure that we were telling the story as authentically and as close to it as we could, so that we could make sure that we had some happy readers out there to enjoy the film. But it was really just the best time.
Yeah, it was. I agree entirely with everything Addison just said.
How for you? What was the most challenging?
The script, getting the script right was tough and took a really long time, and we went through several very different versions, and I worried a lot about how it was going to turn out, and I think we finally arrived at a script that let the cast bring themselves and their ideas about the characters into it, and yet it's still very faithful to the book, and I think that those two things came together really well in this final version.
You shared earlier that the production and the shooting of the movie was really fun. Everyone got along well. So could you please share to us a funny or unforgettable behind the scenes experience that you could tell to our viewers?
I think my favourite days were doing the fight scenes with Jeremy, who had quite an issue balancing himself in the harness. And so we'd be in the middle of the fight and he'd kind of just start hanging upside down in the air with his coat hanging over his head. So that was probably my favourite behind the scenes, making fun of Jeremy's poor core control.
Yeah, I think the wire work was the root of a lot of humor that we had behind the scenes. I think for me especially, the one of the last scenes of the film when Luz and Daniel, everything kind of, it's like the most pivotal moment in the end when we see Daniel in his like full glory, and then we get rudely interrupted by Cam flying in. But when we were shooting the scene that day, it was a very specifically timed moment for Cam to fly onto the platform right as we were about to kiss it. Sometimes the timing wouldn't go so well, and he'd get there too early, and we would be in the middle of the lines right before it, and we'd be like, and then it was just, or he'd come a little bit too late, or fall too hard, or be hanging a little bit, like an inch suspended, and like trying to like get down, and his feet aren't touching it, and it was so hard to not giggle all throughout that. But yeah, I mean, we just had the best time on and off set. We were really lucky to be shooting in Budapest, which was such a beautiful place, and luckily we really all were so fond of one another.
How about for you, Lauren?
The most memorable moment for me, I think, was just initially arriving at the set and seeing, the scope of it really kind of floored me. How many people were employed for a few months because of this little idea that I had no idea where it was going when I started writing it. But I remember watching from a pretty good distance the cast like come out of their trailers toward me and see, before I could even see their faces, just knowing from the way they carried themselves who was who and what role they were playing, and I just felt like a group of angels was coming at me. It was a really intense, like visceral experience.
So lastly, how would you describe Fallen in one word?
Love.
Magical.
Wings.